Have you ever been pleased to see that everything was clean and fresh when you opened your refrigerator? The majority of us do. After all, we learned that the refrigerator prolongs the shelf life and safety of our food. But what if I told you that some of the most popular items in your refrigerator, things you most likely consume every week, are really getting less nutritious and flavorful, and in some circumstances, even dangerous? We're discussing something you might not anticipate today. 10 common foods you should never keep in the fridge. You read correctly, foods should never be refrigerated. This isn't just trendy advice. Science and experience both agree that the refrigerator isn't the right place for them. Why is this important as we age? As we age, our taste buds change, our digestion becomes more sensitive, and it becomes more crucial than ever to preserve the nutrients in our food, especially if we're managing health conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, or digestive issues. This isn't a lecture though, so don't worry. We are having a friendly talk, much like buddies conversing in the kitchen. I'll go over each food with you, give you a straightforward explanation of its use, and provide you with easy-to-follow storage tips, right? You might be surprised by some of these. You may even be prompted to say, "Oh, I've been doing that for years," by some. It's all right. Together we are all learning. Thus, pour yourself a cup of tea, settle down, and let's learn how to maintain the health, happiness, and taste of both our food and ourselves. Are you ready? Let's start with the first food, potatoes. First, let's do something. You can find potatoes grilled, baked, mashed, or in almost every kitchen. Although potatoes are a comfort food that everyone enjoys, many people make the silent mistake of keeping them in the refrigerator. When potatoes are exposed to freezing temperatures, an odd thing happens inside. The natural starches start converting to sugar too quickly. This results in a strangely sweet flavor and a grainy texture, which is absolutely not what you want in your French fries or mashed potatoes. The larger issue, though, is that cooking those sweet potatoes, especially over high heat, can result in the production of a substance known as acrylamide. Its possible connection to specific tumors has been investigated. Although a single dish of crispy fries is not inherently harmful, it serves as a helpful reminder that food storage is more important than we may realize. Additionally, potatoes dislike moisture, and since freezers are humid environments, moisture causes potatoes to deteriorate more quickly, become mushy, or even smell bad. The best course of action is to store them out of plastic bags and in a cool, dry, and dark place, such as a pantry, cupboard, or cellar. To allow them to breathe, use a mesh sack, paper bag, or even a basket. Keep them away from onions as well. Onions emit a gas that can accelerate the sprouting or rotting of potatoes. Keep your potatoes out of the refrigerator and let them remain the way you like them. It's a simple suggestion that makes a tremendous difference. The second most comforting, nutritious, and hearty food is tomatoes. Let's now discuss tomatoes. Perhaps you add them to salads or slice them for sandwiches. Although you may believe that the refrigerator keeps them fresh, it actually detracts from their flavor. Fruits that are delicate include tomatoes. The natural process that ripens them and gives them that sweet, juicy flavor is stopped by the cold air in the refrigerator. Rather, you end up with a tomato that is quite lifeless and bland. At first, you might not notice, but eventually you'll wonder why they don't taste the same as they used to. The refrigerator is the explanation. Lycopene, a naturally occurring antioxidant in tomatoes that promotes heart health and may cut the risk of cancer, is likewise reduced in colder climates. That's another reason we want to maximize our nutrient intake with every food, especially as we age. Instead, how should we store tomatoes? If possible, keep them stemmed side down on the counter at room temperature. This prolongs their lifespan by slowing down moisture loss. Give them a few days if they're still a little firm. They'll ripen nicely on their own. You can only put a tomato in the refrigerator when it's completely ripe, and you can't eat it straight away. But be sure to return it to room temperature before eating. You'll regain some of the texture and flavor you've been lacking. Tomatoes are entitled to be juicy. Food number 3 is onions, which provide depth and flavor to practically any dish. However, because they are full of natural sugars and starches, they shouldn't be kept in the refrigerator. Onions are rich and full of life, just like the meals we share with the people we love. These sugars become more active when kept in wet, cold environments, such as a refrigerator. As a result, the flavor of your onion changes and it becomes soft, even slimy. It may get overly sweet, or worse, mold may begin to grow. Then there is the odor. Onions are well known for their pungent scent. The scent doesn't only remain in the onion when you store them in the refrigerator. It can infiltrate your milk, fruit, and butter. No one likes yogurt that smells like onions. The answer is straightforward. Store whole onions somewhere cold, dry, and well ventilated. Steer clear of plastic bags. They retain moisture. Use a mesh net, paper bag, or basket that allows air to circulate instead. Additionally, avoid putting onions near potatoes. Although it may seem appealing to store them together, onions deteriorate more quickly due to the gases released by potatoes. It resembles a small, unseen conflict between two common culinary items. You can store an onion in the refrigerator if you've already sliced or peeled it, but make sure to cover it tightly with plastic wrap or store it in an airtight container to keep odors contained and everything else safe. In addition to making cooking easier, properly storing onions improves the flavor of your food and keeps your kitchen fresh. Garlic is the 4th food. There's more to garlic than just taste. It's customary to use garlic in pasta, vegetable roasting, and Sunday dinner preparation. But garlic in the refrigerator is not a good combination. Garlic tends to sprout when stored in a chilly environment. Green shoots will emerge from the cloves. Additionally, such shoots alter the flavor in an unfavorable way and are bitter. Additionally, the cold promotes moisture, which can result in mildew, softness, and even spoiling. Garlic should be bold and dry. That is removed by the refrigerator. Additionally, it causes garlic to absorb smells from other foods, which may cause your garlic to taste like leftovers from the previous meal. What is the greatest method for preserving the freshness of garlic? Allow it to breathe. Whole garlic bulbs should be kept in an open basket, mesh bag, or dry, well-ventilated container. It functions flawlessly. There's no reason to cover it. In actuality, airflow is your garlic's best friend. When utilizing individual cloves after breaking the bulb, aim to use them within a few days. Garlic that has been chopped or crushed in advance can be kept in the refrigerator for a short time, but only if it is firmly wrapped. And take extra care if you ever want to preserve garlic in oil. When preserved properly, garlic retains its potent, recognizable kick and enhances your meals and memories. However, it must be kept in the refrigerator and consumed within a week to prevent bacteria. Avocados are the 5th food. The avocado, rich, creamy, and packed with heart-healthy fats, has earned its place in the modern kitchen, whether it's sliced for salad, blended into a smoothie, or spread on toast. However, when it comes to storage, timing is crucial, and the refrigerator can often do more harm than good. The reality is that you should never store unripe avocados in the refrigerator. The reason for this is that avocados require ethylene, a natural gas, to ripen, and this process is most effective at room temperature. The ripening process of an avocado is stopped when it is chilled too soon. You wind up with a fruit that never really softens, tastes like nothing, and feels like a rock. Without ever being ripe on the exterior, some even remain rubbery or turn black within. What if your avocado is already ripe though? In such instance, the refrigerator can be helpful, but only for a brief period of time, perhaps a day or two, after which the texture turns stringy or watery. The taste may become bland or acidic when the good fats within begin to degrade. Once cut avocados are open, they require much more attention since the flesh reacts fast to air and becomes mushy and discolored. Citrus helps prevent oxidation and prolongs its fresh appearance. Apply a little lemon or lime juice to the sliced surface and store it in an airtight container. This advice has been handed down from both kitchen-savvy people and grandmothers. If you'd like your avocado to ripen more quickly, put it with a banana or apple in a paper bag. The process is accelerated by the ethylene gas released by these fruits. Of course, no refrigerator is needed, therefore keep in mind to let it ripen naturally and just refrigerate it for a little time when it's ready. In this manner, you can savor the smooth, nourishing, and well-balanced cuisine that avocados have to offer. One of nature's most basic delights, bananas are soft, sweet, and high in potassium. Although they have been a family favorite for many generations, you may be setting yourself up for disappointment if you put them in the refrigerator to prolong their shelf life. Warmth is ideal for banana growth. They are simply constructed that way. Their skin darkens almost instantly when exposed to cold temperatures, such as those found in a refrigerator. You might think, oh no, they're spoiled, when you see them become brown or black in a day or two. The odd thing is that they aren't truly ripe on the inside, but the cold prevents the ripening process, so you end up with an overripe banana that tastes underripe. Scientists refer to this change in color as a cooling damage because it is stiff, starchy, and simply doesn't hit the spot. Even after being removed from the refrigerator, the banana cells never fully recover from the damage caused by the cold. The easiest way to store bananas is to keep them at room temperature. To prevent bruising and promote even airflow, hang them from a banana hook if you can. No issue if you have no hook. If you want them to ripen slowly, simply keep them away from other fruits that produce ethylene, such as apples. Now freeze your bananas instead of putting them in the refrigerator if they are already becoming too ripe. Peel them first, then slice them if you want, and then freeze them for later use. That's the golden rule. They work well in smoothies, baked goods, and even porridge. Here's yet another traditional tip. The next time you reach for the refrigerator, remember that you can make beautiful banana bread or pancakes whenever you want if you mash ripe bananas and freeze them in little containers. On your counter, allow your bananas to ripen and become delicious in the traditional manner. The seventh food is uncut melons, honeydew after dinner, cantaloupe at breakfast, and watermelon on a summer day. For many years, melons have been a staple on family meals, but keeping an entire melon in the fridge may be depriving you of its nutrients and flavor. Most people are unaware that melons continue to mature after they are plucked, and that this process enhances their sweetness rather than only changing their texture. However, you halt that process when you place an entire cantaloupe in the refrigerator too soon. You get a bland, watery, and less gratifying fruit instead of a juicy, tasty one because the sugar doesn't fully develop. When watermelons in particular are kept too cold, their cells decompose and the formerly crisp and refreshing feel turns mushy and gritty. The same is true for honeydew and cantaloupe. Their inherent sweetness wanes and their texture becomes rubbery. However, taste isn't the only factor. Research indicates that melons that are kept at room temperature have more antioxidants, such as vitamin C and beta-carotene. These nutrients support healthy aging, strengthen your immune system, and combat inflammation. You should leave them out on the counter for that purpose. Do you not think? Now it's time to put the melon in the refrigerator. For the best flavor and food safety, you should eat the cut pieces within 3 to 4 days after cutting them and cover them tightly with plastic wrap or in an airtight container. Don't put the large, lovely melon in the refrigerator right away the next time you bring it home. Allow it to fully mature on the counter, then cut it into slices, cool the pieces, and savor each juicy, nutrient-dense bite. Food number 8, bread. Whether it is a sandwich or a warm slice with butter, bread is one of the most traditional and reassuring things we have ever encountered. In the morning, toast, or lunch. Although bread is comforting, familiar, and full of memories, keeping it in the refrigerator is one practice that may be more detrimental than beneficial. The surprising truth is that, despite the impression that cold air should keep bread fresh, it actually stales more quickly in the refrigerator. In actuality, a process known as retrogradation is taking place. The refrigerator accelerates this process, particularly if the bread is sliced or exposed to air. What about moisture? At that point, the starch molecules in the bread start to crystallize, transforming soft slices into dry, crumbly ones. Not the toast you look forward to with your morning coffee. The refrigerator can make the outside of your bread soggy while the inside becomes tough and unpalatable. What you should do instead is store the bread in a cool, dry location, such as a pantry or bread box, in its original wrapper or in a paper bag with a loose seal to allow it to air without drying out too soon. This will ensure that the bread stays fresh for a few days. Now freeze the bread if you have more than you'll consume in time. Bread survives much longer when frozen than when refrigerated. If it isn't already sliced, cut it first so you can remove only what you need, and then warm it in the oven or toast it. It will taste almost as if it were freshly baked when you're ready. For millennia, bread has been a staple of our menus and lives. One slice at a time, we can keep it soft, fresh, and ready to nourish us if we take a little care in how we store it. Honey, the 9th food. There's more to honey than just sweetness. It is almost eternal and ancient healing. In Egyptian tombs, archaeologists have even discovered pots of honey that are thousands of years old and still perfectly edible. That's honey's magic. However, we disrupt its inherent perfection when we keep it in the refrigerator. Honey crystallizes more quickly in colder temperatures. Most likely you've seen it. While it's still safe to consume, it becomes thick, gritty, and occasionally nearly solid. The texture also changes, and the honey's beautiful floral scents start to wane. It's also much more difficult to distribute or stir into your tea. However, convenience isn't the only consideration. Honey that is kept in the refrigerator gains extra moisture, which might cause fermentation. Although it's uncommon if the jar's seal isn't airtight, there's a better way to store your honey, right in the cupboard. So why take the chance? Store it at room temperature, out of direct sunlight and heat, in a firmly sealed container. That's it. Don't worry if your honey crystallizes. It doesn't require any special techniques or refrigeration. Simply put the jar in a bowl of warm water that isn't boiling. It will revert to its golden liquid state with a little stir. Pure, strong, and patient, honey is a gift from nature. It will endure for years, enhancing our tea, toast, and memories if we treat it with the same deference. Olive oil is food number 10. Let's now take a moment to discuss something that is genuinely valuable in the kitchen. Olive oil, it's more than simply an ingredient. It's a custom, a mainstay that has been handed down through the ages, particularly in Mediterranean cultures where meals serve as social gathering places and food serves as medicine. Olive oil is praised for its potent health benefits, delicious flavor, and silky texture. However, putting it in the refrigerator is a common mistake that subtly destroys all of the things we love about it when it comes to storage. I can now see why people do it. When olive oil becomes cold, especially the good kind, extra virgin olive oil, it starts to harden. This goes against our natural belief that cold implies fresh, and that keeping it in the refrigerator will prolong its shelf life. It will become hazy and thick, or it may even get waxy white lumps that give the impression that it has been ruined. It becomes more difficult to pour, cook, and savor the oil. Additionally, that recurrent cycle of warming and chilling can gradually alter its flavor over time, even if it melts back at room temperature. However, texture isn't the only factor. Something more subtle, something other. Condensation may develop inside the bottle of olive oil when it is refrigerated. If that tiny bit of moisture gets into the oil, it might actually initiate the spoiling process. Oil and water don't mix well, and that small drop of moisture can cause germs to grow and reduce the oil's lifespan without you even noticing. And that's not all. Heat, light, and air are the three natural enemies of olive oil. Yes, the refrigerator shields it from heat, but as we just spoke about, it does not shield it from light when the door is opened or from humidity. Therefore, freezing it won't benefit us in the long run. In fact, we're jeopardizing quality. So where should your olive oil be kept? The perfect location would be a pantry cabinet or cupboard away from the stove or any direct sunlight, somewhere cool but not frigid. Although complete darkness is not necessary, storing it in a dark glass bottle or stainless steel container helps protect it from light. Additionally, make sure the lid is constantly securely closed to prevent oxygen from leaking in and accelerating oxidation. That is the cause of rancid oil. Olive oil can last for months and occasionally even longer if properly stored. It will retain the distinctive scent, golden green hue, and heart-healthy antioxidants that make it so unique. Here's a little reminder from earlier generations that olive oil is about more than simply food. It's about taking care of it. It is used to dry hands in the winter, drizzled over warm bread on a Sunday afternoon, and stirred into soups for sick people. It's easy, nourishing, and it gives back more than we think when we treat it with respect. Thus, let's not conceal it in the refrigerator. Let's make sure it has the space it needs in our kitchens, dinners, and daily lives. Here are 10 common items that are worthy of a finer home than your refrigerator. From golden honey to creamy avocados, each one conveys not only taste and nourishment, but also heritage, culture, and care. Perhaps that is the true lesson of the day. Food is about the daily decisions we make to support our comfort, well-being, and families. It's not simply about calories or expiration dates. The key is to slow down, pay attention to the little things, and treat even the most basic objects, like a loaf of bread or a garlic bulb, with the same deference that we would something far more fragile. As we age, we begin to understand that the simple things, like how you keep food, how you cook, how you recall a recipe your mother used to make, or the scent of your father's Sunday breakfast, have the most impact. These are rituals rather than merely habits, and when we follow them carefully, they benefit more than simply our physical health. They nourish the soul, so take a moment to ask yourself, is this how it was meant to be? Before you throw that onion in a drawer or put that tomato in the refrigerator. The knowledge we seek is frequently not found in a scientific laboratory. It is found in the tales we were told as children, in the methods our grandparents employed, and in the customs we followed prior to convenience overriding common sense. Which of these cuisines astonished you the most? Please share your thoughts with me. All these years, have you been storing them incorrectly? This community is about sharing what we've learned together, not just viewing movies. If you have any family tricks that have survived the test of time, please share them in the comments section below. Please give today's video a thumbs up if you found it useful so that others can find it as well. In addition, we at Elders Insight think it's never too late to become wiser, live a better lifestyle, and feel closer to our food, our homes, and one another. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button. Take care of yourself and your kitchen until the next time comes.